welcome back to the channel. Today we are de-winterizing our Aspen Trail 1950 BH. It's the 2021 model. It's going to be our first trip out for the season, and I figured, well, let's show everybody how to go through the de-winterization process and get ready to go. So one of the first things you need to do is you need to get your hot water tank, because your bypass valves on the hot water tank will be turned off so that you didn't fill your hot water tank full of antifreeze for no real reason. So that is in the back. Here's our double bunks right here. I usually put the solar panels and everything on the lower bunk because they're kind of caged in that way, but we've moved them up out of the way. I have folded back the mattress already because where we need to get into is right there. Now there is a piece of chipboard that's across there. Normally I have it sitting right here right now. Normally I don't pull that all the way out, but it was going to make filming a lot easier to do that this time. And then basically you're just going to crawl your way onto the bed here and get to that hot water tank. That's where your bypass valves are. So I'm going to crawl in there and we'll find those bypass valves and turn them off. Okay, we're crawled into this lower bunk now, and I'm hoping we'll have enough light. Should be okay. Looks all right. To show you the bypass valves here. So you got two of them. Let's see if I can hold this like this. Let's do that. Okay, you have two. One is right here and the other one is down here. So you got a red line and a blue line. You got hot and cold. So the blue line is your supply into the tank, and your red line is taking it out of the tank. And then you have your bypass line, which is this one right here. And so basically what these two valves do is they shut off the tank side. So like right now, the handles, let's see if I can get you in here. The handles are in line with the hot and or the cold. See that right there? See if I can get the camera to stand here. So they're in line with the hot line, and the cold one is in line with the cold line, which indicates that the water, instead of flowing into the tank, is now flowing past the tank up through this bypass line. I need more light. Let's see here. See if this will work. Oh, that's better. Okay. So yeah, so what's happening is, let's see if I can get that cold line in there. So the cold line is, instead of going into the tank, instead of being diverted into the tank, is going into the bypass line, right? Follows up through the bypass line, and then comes up to your hot line. And instead of diverting into your tank, which in normal operation would be diverting out of the tank and going down your hot line, it just carries straight on through and bypasses the hot water tank. So all you gotta do, turn these valves so that the lever on the valve is pointing towards the tank. It's a quarter turn ball valve. And that's it. You do that on both of these, and then your water will flow through the tank instead of through your bypass line. And that's it. So I'll get this done here. Top one's already done. Just doing the bottom one right now. As I drop the camera. Okay. So now, if I can get them in here, see if I can. It's kind of tight in here and the light's not great, but now you can see the blue line, the blue bypass valve is now pointing towards the tank, and so is the red. It's now pointing towards the tank, so now the water will be diverted through the tank. All right, and then after you get that done, you got to go outside and reinstall your anodizing rod. So I'll go grab mine here and meet you outside. It is super windy out here, so hopefully you can hear me. This is your anodizing rod. It's basically a sacrificial rod that prevents corrosion in your hot water tank. This is, I think it's supposed to bond to the minerals in your water that cause corrosion and basically sacrifices itself. When all you see is a real skinny little metal rod that goes down the center of this, it's time to replace it. But you pull it out when you winterize so that you know, your tank can actually dry right out and whatnot. You don't have any basically old stale water sitting in there. If you have some, or if your tape on here is the Teflon tape, it's really messed up, you want to replace that. I can't find mine right now, and it's actually in really good shape on mine still, so we're going to reuse that, and hopefully it doesn't leak. If it does, I'll have to pull it back out and redo it. But in order to put this in, you need a 1 1/16 inch socket with an extension and a ratchet to get it into place. Let's go do that. So here we are now at the back of the trailer here, and here is your access door for your hot water tank, and this is also where, you know, the fumes and everything come out. And you just pop that off like that, set it somewhere where the wind won't blow it all over the place. Hopefully it doesn't. And then there's a hole right here, and that's where your anodizing rod goes into. There's a bit of crud in the threads here. I'll just kind of rub that out. It's parts of the anodizing rod. And then you just put the rod inside. Start the threads, because like obviously the weight of the rod there is going to want to make it like fall down, which would mean cross threading would be very plausible. Okay, so we're started. We got our thread started. We got our ratchet here with an 1 1/16 socket on there, and we're just going to tighten it up. And that is about it. It is actually pretty tight right there. We'll find out if it leaks after here when I fill the tank back up, but that's it. So there's your anodizing rod installed. There's one more thing to do inside. Let's go inside and check that out. Okay, we are back inside the RV here. Hopefully you could hear me out there with all that wind. So the socket you need is a 1 1/16 inch socket to put that anodizing rod back in, and other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Now there is one more thing. Now we had this trailer in for some warranty work, and I hadn't winterized it yet. Before they could get the work done, it got a little cold, so they actually did the winterizing for me. So I don't exactly know how exactly they went about that, but the way I'd normally do it is at the front bed. I already have the bed lifted, and so we can get to this access panel, and I removed the access panel right here, so we'll get that right out of our way here. Just lift that up. It's held in with 4 screws, but really poorly. I'm gonna actually replace that with some double-sided like sticky Velcro, so I can just Velcro it back into place and rip it off whenever I need to get in there. So down here you got your pipes. Okay, so here's your, let me see, yeah, okay, you can still see that. So right there's your water pump. Here is your line from your holding tank, line going to the pump, and then this other line is basically a winterizing line, right? It just goes to nowhere. It goes right to that valve, which is the same as what's on the hot water tanks, right? And so what you would do is you would turn this valve to point down this line, and you would shove this down into a bucket of antifreeze, and you would turn on your pump and run it through your lines. Okay, basically bypasses your holding tank, so you're not dumping a whole bunch of antifreeze inside your holding tank. This way you use way less antifreeze, and you get the antifreeze actually through your pump as well. So, because the pump's actually doing the work of getting it around the system. So, what you need to do before you go filling up your tank is make sure this valve is in the right position. So make sure it is pointing towards the pump. Because if you don't do that, you're going to fill up your tank and the water's just going to pour out of this end all over your floor, get everywhere. You're going to have a nice mess and a lot of drying up to do. Okay, and then your water lines, they come out the other side of that pump. They come to here, to this T, and from this T they get fed around the trailer. So this set goes down, so that's probably heading back to the hot water tank, and then this set is probably just running over to the kitchen potentially. Actually no, that is running to the wall, so that would be your inlet for your city water. So, you know, simple enough. But yeah, the main thing that I wanted to show is that make sure this valve is pointing towards the water pump. Now we can put this all back together, fill the tank full of water, and then turn on the pump and flush all the antifreeze out of the system. So I'm gonna go fill the tank right now. Be right back. Okay, while I was getting the hose ready to fill up the tank, I remembered two other things that I forgot to say that you need to go check. One is your low point drain, and the other one is your tank drain. So let's go look at those for a sec. Close the trailer here because the wind is going to blow the door right off it. All right, so your low point drains, there's one for your hot, one for your cold. They're at the back driver's side of the trailer. So they are right here. There's the spare tire. They're right there. And basically what they have is they just have plugs in them. So just make sure those plugs are in place and tight. Okay. The other one, which I left open for demonstration purposes here, is the tank drain, which is right by your tank fill, your city water fill, and it's right underneath the trailer right here. And same thing as all the other valves, are quarter turn. Just make sure it's not in line with the hose, and it turns off just like that. All right, so now that's truly all the things you actually have to check before you start throwing water in the system. I guess you can actually start throwing water in the system before you do the hot water tank. It's really not going to matter until you turn the pump on, but the rest of the things you really want to be checking there. All right, well, we'll let this tank fill up, and then we'll actually get the antifreeze out of the system. Okay, now we have all our valves in the right position where they're supposed to be. We have everything closed off that's supposed to be closed off. We have a tank full of water. Now I'm going to turn on the pump to start pressurizing the system, and we can start flushing the air and the antifreeze through out of the system. So here is my my pump switch right there. You can hear the pump going. And it's running away. What we're waiting for is to see if it fully pressurizes. On top of that is it may not hit full pressure for a while because there is going to be some air in that system, and air is compressible. So now that it's already slowed down, you can already hear the pump's working a little harder. I'm going to start flushing water out of the kitchen sink because it's closest to the pump. So right here, there's my tap end right there. So I'm going to start, it doesn't matter, you can start hot, you can start cold, doesn't really matter. Hot is also as we're compressing all the air that was in the hot water tank as well. So, and again, air is very compressible over water, so the pump will work hard to try to compress all that air. So we'll start pushing it out, and you can see the pink right now. It's coming out, We're not getting a lot of spurting or nothing yet, so that's pretty good actually. Oh, there's some. Now we're starting to get some air out of the system. So that's going to spurt and spit while the air is coming out. I always forget on this which is hot, because it's like one of those single ones. I don't remember if forward's hot or forward is cold, but so I might be, being all the air that's coming out, this might be the hot. It might be pushing all the air to the hot water tank right now. Oh, and my drain is closed. Let's open that up so that'll actually flush down the drain. Yeah, like now we're just pushing a whole lot of air out, so I'm thinking that's hot. So we're getting all the air out of the hot water tank, which is actually at the other end of the trailer, so it's going to take a while to push that hot water, or the air out of that hot water tank. Plus, the pump's got to fill the hot water tank. So let's move over to the cold for a bit. Oh, there it comes. We had a bit of air at first, and now it's the paint coming out, the antifreeze. And that's already running pretty clear already. All right, yep. So at the kitchen, we got clear already running out of the cold. So we'll keep it closed for a minute, see, let that pump catch up. It is filling that hot water tank, so it's going to be working pretty hard right now. But we got it flushing, so we already know like the pump took prime right away and everything. Oh, pump's slowing down now. So let's try that hot again. There's going to be a lot of air come out of the hot side. You probably usually want to like a towel or something here, because when it shoots out the air, it kind of spatters everywhere. So you kind of want to keep an eye on that. And we're getting the air out. We're actually pretty clean already. Not much pink in there, but you can see it's very oxygenated, I guess. A lot of air bubbles in that. So we're pushing a lot of air out still. And I can hear it. If you can hear that on the camera, I'm not sure you can, but you can kind of hear. It almost sounds like you're trying to push a ball, what do you call it, a ball bearing or a marble through the system. But it's getting there. There's still a lot of air in there. All right, I think we'll close that off for now. See if the pump catches up. And the pump made pressure. Perfect. One of the biggest or easiest ways to know if your winterizing didn't protect your system properly is your pump either won't hold pressure or it won't even make pressure to the point where it shuts off. And if that happens, you undoubtedly have a leak somewhere. So that's something you want to watch for, and just leave the pump on for a little while you're, packing up, whatever. And that will, if you hear it constantly coming on, especially if it's at regular intervals, but if it comes on at all, you know you have a bit of a leak in your system somewhere. So now we're going to go to the bathroom, and it's the same process. I don't think you guys really probably care about watching this, so basically I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do the hot and the cold in the bathroom here, and until there's no more pink, and we'll try to get most of the air out of the system as well. You don't want air in your hot water tank. You want that to be full of water. So once you turn it on to actually heat up. And I will be doing the same thing with the toilet, just running the flusher on it until all the pink is out of that. I would say you still do it, because it's going to mix. If you leave it and you're like, well, whatever, I'm not drinking that water, it's going to mix into your system, because it's a closed loop system, right? And then also do the same for your shower. Like we have to do it with a shower just to protect it, even though we don't use the shower. We don't camp for usually long enough at a time to need to take a shower. And also it uses a lot of water. We boondock, dry camp, whatever you call it. We don't have services around.
So we need to be very water conscious, and this trailer being a light trailer with a single axle, it's got a fairly small water tank. So we just, family of 3, we don't have room to shower, man. Like, if we get dirty quadding and stuff, we'll take a sponge bath basically, and I'll wash my hair outside, stuff like that, get the crud out. But as far as taking a full-on shower, I think that would eat up our tanks pretty quickly. It'd either both fill our wastewater tank or eat up our freshwater tank. So I'm going to get to all these, and that's it. That's the process. You got her done. If you like these videos, please subscribe. If you like this video, click the like button. It gets it recommended to other viewers so I can keep doing these videos. And other than that, have a great day. Enjoy that camping trip. Bye.